I think we all feel it, don't we? That constant hum, you know, of obligation. It seems like the world just rewards being available all the time. Always on, always accommodating.
Always ready.
Yeah, always ready to help out, lend an ear, give up your time. And I think the really uncomfortable thing is we've started confusing that availability with actually being generous.
Right. Or confusing being constantly busy with having real purpose.
Exactly. Busyness equals purpose. Availability equals generosity. It's a trap.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that tension you're describing, that striving for success but ending up just burnt out, that's the core paradox we see everywhere today.
Yeah.
People want growth, achievement, but they feel drained, pulled apart, even a bit resentful underneath it all.
So that's what we're diving into, right? Trying to understand the hidden cost of always saying yes to what everyone else wants.
Precisely. If you're looking for that balance, that way to achieve things and keep your inner peace, it has to start with realizing your energy isn't, infinite.
I definitely relate to that feeling, running an energy deficit. But it's more than just physical tiredness sometimes, it feels like. Losing yourself.
It is deeper, yes. Much deeper. Beneath all that surface level compliance, there's what you could call a quiet erosion.
A quiet erosion.
It's not some big dramatic collapse. It's slow. A kind of disappearance of the self that happens through, well, maybe 1,000 tiny surrenders.
Wow.
We're saying yes to the text, the request, the unexpected demand, yes to everyone.
Except ourselves.
Exactly. Except to that deeper, authentic part of us.
That's a really powerful and honestly pretty uncomfortable idea to just sit with.
It can be. But here's the immediate nugget, the key idea to hold on to right now. Your attention. That's the most precious currency you have.
Attention as currency.
Think about it. Ancient wisdom always warns about this. Guard your mind like a merchant guards his treasure. Every time you give an unconscious yes, you're making a withdrawal from that inner treasure chest.
Okay.
And when that account runs dry, you don't just feel tired, you feel incoherent, scattered.
Let's unpack that incoherence. Because the daily reality feels so physical, almost. I can picture it perfectly. You finally carve out time for your important project, and then it starts. The phone buzzes a friend needs a big favor, like right now. Then your partner needs a really heavy conversation. Then your boss hits you with an urgent last-minute thing.
Yep. The cascade.
And you just, you say, okay, I'm on it. And you feel your body get heavy, your mind gets foggy. Suddenly you've got 4 new commitments, and none of them were what you actually needed to do.
That scattershot reaction, that's the daily grind for so many. And modern psychology backs this up. The toll is steep.
How steep?
Well, people who consistently struggle to say no, they show significantly higher levels of burnout. And not just feeling tired, but deep resentment. Sometimes even clinical depression.
Wow.
Because by always putting external demands first, you're essentially fracturing your own integrity, your sense of self.
What? Why? Why does being accommodating fracture us like that? We're taught it's good to be helpful.
The issue isn't helping itself, it's the motive. When it becomes chronic people-pleasing, you turn into, well, the image used is like being a mirror reflecting others' needs.
Okay.
There's no core left, nothing solid to reflect back to yourself. You lose touch with your own values, your own energy limits.
So boundaries aren't selfish then?
Not at all.
Yeah.
That's the fundamental shift in thinking. Boundaries aren't walls. They are, let's say, sacred stewardship.
Sacred stewardship, I like that.
It's a structure you need to take care of your own inner resources sustainably.
Okay, but here's where I get stuck. The fear. It's huge. If I start saying no, am I rejecting someone? Am I pushing away love? Or maybe missing out on a big opportunity? That fear of missing out, fear of disappointing someone, that's what makes me hit reply all with a yes almost every time.
That fear is incredibly real and powerful. But ancient wisdom actually gives us a different way to look at it, a counter-narrative. Let's look at some Buddhist principles. They really support setting healthy boundaries. Take mindfulness, sati. We usually hear it translated as just being present.
Right.
But a deeper layer of meaning is about remembering what truly matters.
Remembering what matters.
In this context, it means remembering your integrity, your energy levels, your real purpose, not just the immediate demand in front of you.
Okay, that shifts the focus right away. Away from the external urgency and back to my internal state.
Exactly. And actually, real spiritual awakening often involves a very firm no. Think about the Buddha. He spent years saying yes to different paths, different demands.
Until he realized they weren't working.
Right. They were leading him away from truth. His big moment of clarity started with a quiet but profound refusal. No, this path isn't mine. That no was the doorway to liberation. And tied into this is karun, true compassion. The key insight here is that real compassion has to start with self-compassion.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
You literally can't. If you keep trying, what you end up offering isn't nourishment, it's just dust. You're not really helping anyone long term. You're just creating depletion for everyone.
That really cuts against the grain of how we often think about self-sacrifice, especially in the West. So if I try this sacred stewardship, how do I actually draw the line without coming across as, difficult or self-absorbed, especially if people are used to me always saying yes?
It's a common concern. Look at nature for a model. Think about the lotus flower.
Okay.
It grows right there in the mud, often in really stagnant water. But the flower itself, it stays completely unstained, pure.
How does it do that?
Not by fighting the mud,
Yeah.
but by having strong roots. Deep roots that only draw up what actually nourishes it. The lotus just is. It doesn't apologize for keeping itself separate from the surrounding chaos.
So saying no mindfully, that's like planting those roots.
That's exactly it. It transforms no from being a rejection into being a foundation, essential for your own growth.
So it's not just about stopping things, it's about choosing what feeds you.
Precisely. Which brings us to another concept, discernment, or viveka.
Viveka.
It's the wisdom to distinguish, to see clearly what actually serves your path, your growth, your purpose, versus what just feeds distraction or obligation, or frankly, other people's chaos.
Right.
Every time you manage to say no to something that drains you, you're actually making a really powerful conscious yes to your deeper life. That's the framework for living intentionally.
This sounds vital, necessary, but connecting that sacred pause, that discernment to the pressures of, say, business or finance or just being a parent, that's where it gets tricky, right? When the world demands speed.
It does feel tricky. But the key is shifting from that modern default of reactivity to a more ancient sense of intentionality. The shift comes when you cultivate praja.
Praja.
Think of it as wisdom that comes from deep awareness, embodied awareness. It's a total opposite of just jumping at every notification, every ping.
Okay, let's make it concrete. Say I'm a leader and a truly urgent email lands late at night. Market's crashing, big client issue, whatever. How does praja help then? I can't just ignore it.
No, praja isn't about ignoring the crisis. It's about preventing the panic from consuming you.
Okay.
So instead of reacting purely on adrenaline, praja prompts a pause, even a tiny one.
Yeah.
And you ask, 1, is this urgent for the organization, or is the sender making it urgent for me? 2, and this is crucial, am I actually resourced right now to respond strategically, or will I just react emotionally and maybe make things worse?
That pause, even just 60 seconds of breathing before replying.
It preserves your cognitive resources, your clarity.
It's a huge distinction. We act like our minds are limitless, but neuroscience tells us decision-making uses up finite energy. We burn out because we never let the system cool down.
We never let the server cool down, exactly. Think about a mindful entrepreneur. They practice this intentional refusal. Maybe they medicate before diving into email.
Right.
They choose quality, integrity, thoughtful response over just being immediately reactive. Their refusal to be instantly available isn't laziness. It's actually deep respect for their work. It means when they do say yes, it's backed by clear thinking. That leads to more sustainable success.
And in finance, you mentioned Warren Buffett before, that world seems relentlessly fast.
That's maybe where it's clearest. The mindful investor knows their edge isn't being fast to say yes to everything. It's being the best at saying no. They don't chase every shiny deal. They watch, they wait. They understand that saying no to, say, 99 tempting but ultimately distracting opportunities is what allows them to give a powerful, focused yes to the one that truly aligns with their vision and values.
So Buffett's saying successful people say no to almost everything. That's just practical viveka, strategic refusal.
Practical viveka. Exactly. It translates directly into strategy.
Wow. Okay, billion-dollar strategy makes sense. What about closer to home? Family. The stakes feel different, maybe even higher emotionally, and constant availability often gets equated with love.
But love, real love, is measured in authentic presence, not just exhausting availability.
Okay.
Think about a parent who's feeling burnt out, but is trying to model self-awareness. The parent who says, gently, honey, I can't play right now. I just need 10 minutes to breathe and clear my head.
Yeah.
That parent isn't being neglectful. they're teaching something incredibly valuable. That taking care of yourself is important. That emotional honesty matters more than just complying automatically.
I can see that. And actually, when you say yes to a child or a partner, when you really mean no, you're kind of harming the relationship long term, aren't you? Building it on something false.
You absolutely are. You're violating a core principle, ahimsa, non-harming. Because that forced yes creates false expectations. It breeds resentment simmering under the surface. It compromises the authenticity of the connection. Boundaries aren't walls. They're the architecture of trust. They honor honesty over compliance. The other person is harmed too because they end up relying on a promise you couldn't genuinely keep.
Okay, so this reframes everything. If we stop measuring our worth by just output, by the sheer number of yeses we rack up, how do we define success then? What does it look like if it's not just a frantic full calendar?
We redefine it as alignment. The term is samyak.
Samyak.
It means the convergence, where your inner spiritual clarity meets your outer ambition. True success is absolutely not piling up obligations. It's mastering the art of sacred refusal.
That requires a pretty fundamental shift in priorities.
It does. It means success looks like a clear mind, not just a full calendar. It looks like intentional presence, not constant availability.
Right.
There's that story, about the young monk who wanted to help absolutely everyone who came to him.
Vaguely.
His master gives him this perfectly clear bowl of water, represents his mind, his capacity, then asks him to add pebbles, big requests, then sand, smaller favors, then finally dust all the tiny interruptions and demands.
And the bowl representing the monk's self.
Right. The bowl didn't overflow, it didn't break. But the master pointed out its clarity was gone. It became cloudy, heavy, useless for its real purpose, which was to hold and reflect pure water. That's exactly what happens when we say yes, without viveka, without that discernment. We aren't drowning because we lack time, we're drowning because we've lost clarity.
That image really nails it. The problem of being diluted by everything external. So for someone listening right now, feeling that tension, ambition, pulling one way, depletion pulling the other, what's the immediate practical thing they can do when the next request hits?
Use the pause. That tiny sacred space between the stimulus, the request, and your usual reaction.
The pause.
And in that pause, ask yourself just one vital question. Does this yes come from love, from authenticity, from genuine resource, or does it come from fear?
Fear of disappointing, fear of conflict.
Fear of being disliked, fear of missing out. If the answer is fear, then saying no isn't a failure, it's not a loss, it's an act of profound courage. Self-responsibility.
And that gentle, clear no, it isn't really closing a door, is it? It's more like lighting a lamp, so that when you do give an authentic yes, it shines fully. It comes from who you really are, what you can truly offer.
Beautifully put. And that light leads us to the final, maybe the deepest challenge here.
Okay.
Because the path doesn't stop with setting those external boundaries. It eventually requires learning to say no to the voices inside.
The inner critic.
Exactly, the inner critic calling you selfish. The old story whispering about abandonment if you dare set a limit. The ghost of past guilt trying to pull your strings now. Those internal demands. They also need mindful refusal.
That feels like the ultimate test of clarity.
It truly is.
Okay.
Because in the end, you're not responsible for managing everyone else's happiness or emotional state.
Right.
You are responsible for your own clarity, your own stewardship. And from that place, that wellspring of clarity, a completely different kind of generosity flows. One that actually sustains instead of drains.
A sustainable generosity.
Yes. So the final question to really sit with, to ponder. What if your no isn't a loss at all? What if your no is actually your liberation?